Strategically, in terms of geopolitics, Nepal is situated pretty much between the borders of India and China.
Yes, and because of our position and where we are, that's always this fear of what is going to happen next. Because as we have seen Western countries and what they say about China, they want to make people fear China, which I never understand, because China is a really good neighbor. They've been there for us all the time.
Right.
See, what they try to say to me, I do not believe, and I have never seen that. People halfway across the world cannot tell me what I'm supposed to think about my neighbor.
And would you say that your view, seeing China as a good neighbor, is shared by many people in Nepal?
Yes.
The government of your country, do they lean one way or the other, or do they stay neutral?
They want to balance. What I'm saying is we have to balance.
Yes.
Because we depend on India as well as we have to depend on China. Like our current Prime Minister said some really bad things about India, and I mean, he says 2 or 3 things that isn't taken well by India.
Okay.
But as much as I know, he wants to balance. At this point, we all want to balance.
Yeah.
It has always been hard for Nepal.
Yeah.
Recently, India and China had problems in Ladakh, and they had to be neutral and not speak. We're not going to speak about it because both of the neighbors are equally important for us. We cannot just take sides.
Choose a side.
We have to balance.
And it's interesting you mentioned this term, choosing a side. The people of the world would I'm sure, much rather there be peace and everybody works together in cooperation, and yet there is these influences, usually Western, almost always Western, the US, this hegemonic empire, which can't see another way, which seems to force governments to choose a side, and it seems to force governments to choose them, or they get destroyed, or they get invaded, or something like this.
This I know many people do not know. After the earthquake in 2015, after some months of that, Nepal got its new constitution, opened the new constitution, which India didn't like. So there were protests happening. There were protests happening in the southern plains of Nepal.
Okay.
But India stopped any kind of economic support. That means nothing imported.
Right.
It was an economic blockade. Earthquake relief material was also not given to us.
So India sanctioned Nepal, in effect.
Yeah. At that time, China helped us. That's what made many people in Nepal really, really feel positive about China.
Right. I understand.
China was our neighbor, but our relation with China wasn't as deep as it was right now.
Okay.
That was the thing before. They've helped us a lot. China's non-intervention policy is what I like. They do not intervene in other countries.
So I understand this. Nepal is not a big country. It's a small country. It's a beautiful country. But I see this situation, for example, in Myanmar right now, where this country has been manipulated so badly, and there is a smokescreen around it, and there's another so-called Spring Revolution, and you and I know who's behind this and how it started, and I worry for countries like Nepal or Bhutan. Could the same thing happen in these countries?
In Nepal, it's quite possible. I've read a lot of news from different conflict analysts that Nepal might be the next Afghanistan. Afghanistan war was because of strategic.
Yeah.
And
the position.
How Nepal can be in the same position. But the problem in Nepal is our internal politics is not always good. It has actually never been very good. It's ups and downs, and conflict between different political parties keep happening.
Yeah.
People are least bothered about what's happening outside. That is, there's huge power they'll try anything.
Yeah. So
for
like I
their
say,
own good.
I worry for Nepal. I worry for Bhutan, and I know I've lived in the West. I've lived in the US, the America, the UK for many years, most of my life, Australia. I know the difference. I know what happens. And now I live in China 7 years, and I know the spirit of Chinese people. They're not aggressive. They don't want to attack. They don't want to take over. They like money, same as everybody else. But they're not aggressive. They don't have this colonist mentality, you know. So I do know the difference, and I feel it. I feel it deeply, and so I worry for these everybody who seems to be on the borders with China seems to be like under threat, you know.
Yes, because during the US bill has said that Nepal will get certain, I don't remember how much money for democracy,
Okay.
and a lot more they are going to fund. The main thing is Tibet for us. From
Yeah.
here, a lot of different NGOs which work under UN are also funding these kind of things
Okay.
around. So that's another thing we have to be careful about.
Yeah.
When United States says freedom,
Yeah.
democracy, that's a fear. That's a threat. I take that as a threat.
Immediately, when their flavor of democracy means invasion, it means colonization. Yeah, it means destruction.
Now, there's something called Millennium Corporate Project,
Okay.
which is by the US Congress. They fund a lot of development projects to poor countries. It's
Okay.
You remember a competition with BRI is MCC.
Yeah.
MCC corporate. But the problem with MCC is that it is it comes under Indo-Pacific strategy. And now Nepal government is trying to pass, and most people are against MCC in Nepal because we have seen what is, even Sri Lanka rejected it as far as I know.
Okay.
But rejecting it also is bringing fear. Okay, we reject something. Either you are on our side or you are not.
Yeah.
If
Or
that
you're
sounds
against
familiar.
if you're not with us, you're against us. Yeah. This being
Yeah,
forced to choose a
so
side.
that's the problem.
Yeah, it's
That's the
ridiculous.
problem.
I dearly hope that we can all turn this situation around in terms of changing the message and letting the people who are being fooled by the West into seeing, look, we're not your enemy. Your enemy is within. It's in your own backyard.
That's a very tough thing to do because there are a lot of media, Western media. Many people, even I know in Nepal, do read this news from BBC and everything. And when they keep saying it,
Yes.
they might just believe it. Many people told me about how China controlled the virus. Some people even closer to me said
Yeah.
the same thing what Western media was saying at that
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
There were no freedom, no things like that. How Western media had portrayed that, and now that we can see how well China did, and I even explained them, they do not want to be explained.
When someone's mind is made up.
Want to be true.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
You can hold the truth up and say, here's the black cat and here's the white cat, and they still can't see. They see a grey cat somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say from Nepal to anybody who watches this video?
We have second wave over here, and if any international organization, anybody from China, anyone could help us to get through this with anything from oxygen, PPE, mask, or anything, that would be really appreciated, because it's like a war zone at this point for us. And for people of China, thank you for being such a good neighbor. Thank you for helping us through a lot of disasters our country has gone through.
The news is saying all these problems. India has all these problems, and nobody is talking about Nepal. Sabina, thank you so much. I will pass this message as far and wide as I can. And
thank you for really inviting me.
Thank you very much for talking with me. We will do this again sometime, I hope.
Sure.
Okay, bless you, Sabina.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.